headed to the Marriott for a diversity equity training. I got off on the wrong stop on the train. Hopefully I'll get it better tomorrow morning. I'm here for this training for 3 days. Didn't expect to have to walk this far today, but I'm getting my steps in, so that's a good thing. Good exercise if nothing else. Really looking forward to this training. I know there's going to be a lot of law enforcement there. I was a little on the fence on whether or not I should attend it, but I think the information is going to be valuable. Oh, it says I need to take a right. This is uptown Charlotte, and it's called uptown and not downtown. Yeah, this is Charlotte, North Carolina during rush hour. It's about 7:45. Almost 8 o'clock, and I know by now downtown Manhattan, Chicago, any other major city would be bustling with pedestrians on the street making their way to their office. But here in Charlotte, not so much. I'm surprised, actually. I don't work too far from uptown, but what I can tell you is the traffic when you drive in is horrendous. It's definitely one person per car. The train coming in wasn't crowded at all. This is the Bank of America building. Yeah, it wasn't crowded at all. I don't think Charlotteans are used to commute yet via train. So they all just still prefer to drive. Working for the city, I was fortunate to get a pass for the year for $33. Which you cannot beat. They don't even check your tickets on the train. It's like an honor system. Here's some people. They check it periodically, and if you are caught without a ticket, you're fined $50. I've never been checked for my ticket, but I always purchase. But now with my pass, I don't have to purchase for a year. $33. Unlimited travel. Here I am at the Marriott. Breathing a little heavy because the wind is blowing. All right, stay tuned for more. In the lobby heading to my meeting.
Charlotte Station. Please exit left.
Going into the parking deck, and parking was free. There is nothing, no pay for the parking here by the train station. Very nice, secure parking deck. Stay tuned for more. Hello, everyone. And this is the conclusion of day one of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Conference here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The majority of the participants were from the police department and the fire department from across the country. There were also lots of people from different HR divisions as well. It was so filled. I'm exhausted. I'm currently in the parking deck. If you were looking at this video, I was coming off the train because I took the train into uptown Charlotte and I parked in the parking deck. Now with Charlotte's transit system, when the light rail was built, they also built parking decks. So I thought that the parking decks you had to pay to park, but they are free. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is so crazy. So the parking decks are free, and I got the city special for city employees. So my parking pass was just $33 for the entire year to ride the train or the bus. So whenever possible, when I go in Uptown, I always try and take the train. I don't have to worry about parking, paying to park, anything like that. So it's awesome. I just wanted to go over some of my notes from today. We had a whole group meeting on demographic and diversity changes in the workforce, and I really like that. She talked about the different generations that is currently in the workforce. This is the first time in U.S. history that we have 4 and soon to be 5 generations in the workforce at the same time. So we have the matures who were born between 1920 and 1945. We have the baby boomers, 1946 to 1965, Gen X, 1966 to 1979, and Gen Y, 1980 to 2000. And then we have Gen Z, that's 2001 and current. So, she was just talking about the different ways, like the decisive historical events that each generation experienced, such as wars, segregation, lynching, women in the workforce. Also, music, the different types of music that each generation enjoyed, and the space shuttle, Berlin War, home computers, AIDS, video games, latchkey kids, divorce rate, technology, first Black president, terrorism, global terrorism, school shootings, and safety protection, 9/11. So, those are some of the decisive historical events. I just randomly called them out, but each generation in particular, were affected because it was really at the heyday of their generation. And then the values of each generation. Like the matures, they are into loyalty, nationalism, dedication, sacrifice, patience, job well done, age and seniority equals seniority to them. For the baby boomers, freedom of speech, more women, workaholics, stability, work-life balance. There weren't any work-life balance with them. Personal development, competitive, desire for respect, and first in, last out. For Gen X, it was innovation, thinking globally, informal, techno-literate, independent, no common heroes, parents are more like friends, work-life balance was important, education became entertainment. For Gen Y, they're more liberal, they embrace diversity, civic duty, entitlement, ambitious yet aimless, optimistic and confident, raised as friends, search out for authority, difficulty with focus. They need things that are very stimulating. It was really interesting, the different generations, and she gave us tips on how to communicate with them, and she talked about emotional intelligence and how important it is to understand yourself so that you can better understand others. That's where it all begins anyway. Then there were 3 breakout sessions. The one I went to was Change the Culture, Change the Game. And, with that, she talked about the importance of having a mission, vision statement, the culture of your company, and how it is communicated on a daily basis, not just one and done, so that everyone can be aligned with it and make sure that they are working authentically in that particular mission, vision, and in that culture. Also, I like this. She said, what you permit, you promote. What you promote becomes your standard. And that is something that I'm a real advocate for, because, and this is an example that kind of has resonated with me because it just happened a couple of weeks ago. I am a very, very hard worker. I love what I do, but I work hard at it, and I don't ever want anyone to mistake me for someone that is a slacker. So there was one Monday morning when, and I have a family business, just a lot of stuff going on. So, I have to have some balance, and I know how to break it all the way down. If I have to take a day, if I have to take a week, whatever, I definitely know how to tap out. So this particular Monday morning, I had a very busy weekend, and I had stopped and got some coffee, and I was walking into my office, and two guys that are on my team looked at their watch. And typically people in my building get in between 7 and 8. I'm usually there about 7:30. It was 8 o'clock, you know. So I'm walking in, and they looked at their watch and was like, excuse me, what are you doing strolling in here? And you stopped and got coffee? I was like, yeah, I stopped and got coffee. I worked very hard. I probably will be here till 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. So don't worry about me and mine. I'm getting my hours in. Don't worry about what I do. I'm very competent. I don't play around, you know, da-da-da. And for some reason, with them saying that did not resonate well with me. It really made me kind of heated. So I went to one of our leaders, and I shared it with her, because I was like, listen, I really need to have them checked. You could do it because I feel like you have a sweeter demeanor than I do. At this point, the way that I feel, I think if I was to say something to them, it wouldn't turn out good. It would probably turn out pretty bad. So she's like, sure, I'll talk to them about it. And so she did. And I really appreciated them afterwards, especially because they called me into their office and was like, Sherri, you know, we didn't mean anything by it. We were joking. I said, you can't joke with me like that. Not when it comes to, excuse me, the type of worker I am, my integrity. You know, you made it sound like I'm just strolling in and, you know, whatever. Don't ever mistaken who I am, where I am, because first of all, I have apprentices and interns that start their day at 7. So sometimes I have meetings at 6:30 where I have to meet their mentors or supervisors. Like my schedule is not for them to be checked. I have someone that I check in with about where I am, what I'm doing. And those two are not the ones. So, you know, I didn't want someone to hear them say that and think that I'm a slacker, you know. If I would have let them get away with it that time, at every meeting, they would have brought it up. I know them. So, no, I had to nip that in the bud. You will never be able to talk about my work ethic. That's not going to happen. So the second training that I went to was how to successfully recruit for diversity. And I really like this person. She was an HR director from Richmond, Virginia. I believe she worked for the police department, and she goes around the country and, you know, gives these types of workshops. So she was very, very, knowledgeable about it. You know, she talked about diversity and inclusion is a big solution. And she gave us strategies. Step 1 was leadership. Step 2, external assessment. Step 3, agency assessment. Step 4, identify other challenges. Step 5, engage. Step 6, target resources. Step 7, grow your own through like having a buddy program, an explorers program, you know, mentor programs, things like that. And she also, and she went into grave detail about each. You have to excuse me. My throat is a little dry, and I have this cough that's been a little consistent, so I'm trying to get a handle of it. Then the third training I went to was millennial leadership, and that was really good. It talked about, you know, really how to be a leader to a millennial and also how to develop them as leaders. And with my apprentices and interns, the majority of them are millennials. And my goal for them is for them to be leaders one day in the organization. You know, I don't want them to just have a job, any job. I definitely have them on a career path, and I have them thinking that way. So this was really good in terms of, you know, learning the different styles and, building up the loyalty, you know, how to do that, what millennials feel comfortable with, what they want. There's a book called Google Works that was recommended by one of the session trainers. She said that it's about how Google runs their business. And since they're a successful corporation, you know, she really incorporates a lot of their strategies. Let's see. Some things, some key phrases that I picked up were: you can control only what you can control. Another is know self to lead self, know others to lead others. And that was around the EQ training, the emotional intelligence training. And then, of course, what you permit, you promote. What you promote becomes your standard. So be mindful of what you are promoting for yourself, what you are allowing, what you are permitting people to say about you, people, how they treat you. Be mindful of that, because that is what you're promoting, and that will become your standard. This has been Real Talk with Coach Sherri. Stay tuned for day 2 and day 3 of this amazing diversity, equity, inclusion conference. Thank you. Have a good evening. Oh, don't forget to subscribe and like and share. All right. Thank you.